So you booked your Alaska cruise and your port of call is Seattle, Washington. Now I have a question for you. So many of you are going to have to fly to Seattle. And why would you take that long journey to go to Seattle just to get off the airplane, rush to your hotel, and just get on your cruise ship? Or early coming in the morning, early morning, and you have to rush to your cruise ship to get aboard and not even enjoy the city of Seattle and what it has to offer. Hi, my name's Kevin O'Connor with Outta Here Travel. And myself, I got a special connection to Seattle, Washington. I grew up in Washington State. I grew up in the town of Bellingham, Washington, just 90 miles north of Seattle, up by the Canadian border. And, I spent a lot of time in Seattle growing up. As you can see, I'm in my basement at my house, and I still have a love and connection for Seattle. I've got my Seattle Seahawks here, my Washington Huskies, University of Washington Huskies, and in the background you can see the Space Needle, the skyline of Seattle. And this is what I want to talk about. I want to give you some highlights of what to do. And again, many times when you come into your port cities, you rush in. I'm going to do a 7-day cruise. I'm coming in, and then I'm coming back, and then I'm flying out to go home. I'm going to talk about what I'm going to talk about here is take an extra 2 to 3 days and enjoy Seattle. It's the Pacific Northwest. It's a great place to visit and see. There's many things to do. So I'm going to give you a couple highlights of what to do. All right. So let's start out here. In downtown Seattle, one of the famous places is the Pike Street Market. And here it's kind of it's been around for many years, and it's kind of like for the farmers markets for many vendors to come in, bring their wares, bring they're from the farms. You can see all the flowers that are here, the fresh cut flowers. One of the ones is the fish market in here, and you've probably seen a lot of pictures of it where they have all the fish on ice, and you walk in and they could have halibut and cod and your oysters and your clams, and they have the whole salmons. And you pick out your salmon, and the guy comes out, the employees, and then he tosses it to his other co-worker in there, and he throws it on the scale, gets the price, puts the butcher paper around it, and then they give it to you. And it's always fun just to walk out there and watch these guys throwing fish. And they even have people can even toss fish over to the guy in the scale, be able to do that. But there's a lot of shops in here. You just wander around. There's cafes and places to eat. And then there's the stairways. Pike Place, the market, kind of goes down all these little stairways as you walk down. There's just a lot of cool places. And then the way Seattle is, it's kind of hilly and goes up and down. And then the waterfront is directly behind this, drops down to the bottom. There's another waterfront where you got restaurants and the ferry boats go out of. And the big Ferris wheel is down there as well, too, on the piers. And your cruise ships, there's 2 piers out there, go up down to the bottom of the hill along the piers that go out to the waterfront. And you can from here, you can walk down to the waterfront. So this is the Pike Place Market. Now, the other image here's the Seattle Space Needle. And if you go to Seattle, you got to go to the Space Needle and take the elevator and go up to the top tower, the observation deck there. And it gives you, Seattle has Puget Sound, and across the way you have the Olympic Mountains. So you can see the Olympic Mountains from there. And in the background, they got Mount Rainier is out there. You'd be able to see that. You could see the whole coastal side. You could see over to Lake Union, Lake Washington. And it's a fun thing to do. Now, that's the upper deck. You're outside. And if you can come in and go down a little stairway, and then you're at the used to be a restaurant, and it circulates. It goes 360 in 1 hour. But now it's the restaurant's gone, but you could sit in there, especially if it's you know, if Seattle's kind of known for rain. So if it's kind of windy or rainy, you could sit in there and still get the beauty of the scenery. And then you could, down in here, there's other sights to see. You've got the Science Center. There's also a glass museum store in there to see too. It's a well-known glass maker that has various things. It's got the other just other sights to see at the Seattle Center that you can do. They do have a tramway now that takes you from, if you're downtown, you take the little tramway out, and it takes you right to the Space Needle. So that's, you got to do that. This is at a nighttime view, and it lights up at nighttime as well. One of the other things I always tell people to do is, as you walk down from the Pike Place Market, they have all the ferry boats. Now, out across Puget Sound, they have various islands and various communities, and one of the modes of transportation is taking a ferry boat directly across. Instead of, there's no really roads that come across, so you'd have to go all the way up and around and come back, horseshoe, kind of a long trip. So there's many, you can go to various other little islands, Port Townsend, Bainbridge Island. I think it may take you even get up to Whidbey Island. And it's just a short jaunt to go across there. And it's fun. You can take the ferry boat, take a boat ride over, very inexpensive. Walk off, you can look at Bainbridge community and then come back. And one of the highlights I always tell people is do this at nighttime or sunset. And see, all you can see here, all the skyscrapers that are there. You can also see Mount Rainier in the background. And it just gives you another perspective. Michelle and I did that one time. We caught it, came back in. It was like a day like this, and the sunset was beautiful, and all the buildings lit up, kind of the oranges and pinks. So that's another idea to do. And you can also take the ferry boat across. If you had a car, if you rented a car, then you can go over to the Olympic Peninsula and go up. Just to give you another tour, you could spend a day just going out looking at the islands and taking another ferry boat ride, and you can do the loop and come all the way back around to Seattle. That's another avenue to do. But when you're in Seattle, this is well known. Starbucks. That's the home of Starbucks, is in Seattle. So this is the original one. It's right on the edge of Pike Place Market. They still have that stores there. They've built a couple other stores around. There's quite a few of them downtown Seattle. But this is the new one. And basically it started as a coffee and tea shop and spices. You could just buy coffee and tea. They just never brewed it for you. That was the original intent of it. And then later it became making coffees and went on from there. So again, if you go to Seattle, you got to, you got to get that coffee in there. One of your favorites. Oops. So again, going to these ports, when you can take these cruises and you got your ports to go to, spend a day, a couple days, 2 or 3 days, just to get into it. Of what you can do. Kevin at Out of Here Travel, we do all cruise planning for you, all itinerary planning. So again, what I want to say is come early, stay longer, and make the journey part of the adventure. That's part of the adventure, is seeing more avenues and more things to just make memories for yourself and your trip and then what you're doing. So again, Kevin from Out of Here Travel, happy traveling, everybody. I'd be more than happy to help you plan this great Seattle adventure and get you up to Alaska. So happy travels, everybody. Take care.